former Navy SEAL, best-selling author and researcher, is going to be joining us. Matt Bracken, who's been warning of Antifa actually turning into a weatherman-style terror organization. That's now been confirmed by undercover folks with some of our reporters, also with the Hagman report and their undercover people, and also the latter with Crowder with video all over the country inside the Antifa meetings. And our own Millie Weaver and Gavin Wentz got footage inside their meetings as well, where they are calling for a violent revolution starting November 4th to coincide with 100 years of the Bolshevik Revolution. Paul Watson wrote about it on Friday. It's linked up on drudgereport.com. Antifa plans civil war to overthrow the government. Violent far-left group demands Trump regime be removed from power. And they're just the cover for the Democrats, the deep state, the big globalist corporations that are in major publications like the Financial Times, Atlantic Monthly, and others, talking about a civil unrest event or a race war that could be triggered, using that as the cover to declare civil emergency outside of the president and remove him. Now, notice this is happening all over the world. Civil wars in Ukraine, civil wars all over Asia, civil wars all over Africa, civil wars all over the Middle East, civil wars all over South America, Central America. We're entering that global season. At the time that World War I kicked off, there were more than 10 different wars going on. World War II, same story. Economic, cultural fault lines build up, and then when you see more political crises, you tend to see more wars unfold. All historians agree with that, and we are lined up right now for this. Look at Catalonia, that I'm going to cover first. Spain was always three kingdoms, going back before it was officially Spain. It was then invaded by the Muslim Moors during the jihad. The response to that was the Crusades. But our media teaches us that the Crusades were bad to defend Europe. And the crew was showing me some footage before we went live. We can roll that at the polling places of women being savagely beaten by police. Even once they're on their backs and bleeding, savagely dragging women around by their hair, savagely beating women, reportedly children are also being beaten. We're talking about police jump kicking off of stairs and curb stomping, trying to kill people. And again, this is savage, pure intimidation because Catalonia is only, what, 14% of the population of Spain, 40% of the GDP. It also add that Catalonia was one of the only areas not to be fully taken over by the Muslims. So it's a little bit of a racist thing because they're lighter skinned. They're the original Spaniards. They're in Catalonia. And so a lot of the rest of Spain kind of sees it as elitist. And there's some type of racial or cultural envy going on. But world leaders from the Pope to you name it have condemned it. It is martial law in Catalonia, Barcelona being the capital of that region of northeastern Spain. Beautiful architecture, amazing people. The food is my favorite, and I've been all over Europe. The food is unbelievable. It's like down-home type cooking, but it's just, I mean, you go in these little bitty corner, hole-in-the-wall stores, and literally mama comes out and makes you the food. And it's very, very sad to see this happening to Catalonia. There's hours of this footage up on Infowars.com. Spanish police storm polling station in Catalonia, independence vote. Spanish riot police smashed their way into the polling station in Catalonia on Sunday. And then it just goes on from there, firing rubber bullets, closing hundreds of polling stations, arresting thousands. Here's a Reuters headline, violence erupts as Catalans vote on the split from Spain. And the polls showed close to 90% wanting to get out of there, between 80 and 90%. So they were going to pull out. But here's the good news. Just like they can try to block Brexit, once you try to block what people already wanted, you'll never stop them. Word is the Catalans aren't paying taxes now. They're not submitting. They're not, I mean, almost every window when you're in Barcelona has the Catalan flag hanging out of it. And when I say they're the original Spaniards, there were no Spaniards. Spain got unified in a response to the Islamic takeover. It was basically a Germanic/Roman type amalgamation. And they got taken over. And finally, some of the northern kingdoms got unified. Help came out of Europe, north of them, and out of what is France today and other areas. And then they came in kind of the proto or pre-Crusades. Was a response to the giant Islamic invasion of Spain, of Italy, of Poland, of Romania, of Hungary. And that's why in those Eastern European countries today, like Hungary and Romania, that they don't let any Muslims in. Because they know they come to act nice at first, build their numbers, politically dig in, and then they start attacking locally in the neighborhood with certain members of the males going out to do it on purpose to drive you out of neighborhoods. Then they vote and take control of those. Then out of cities. Then regions. Then they militarize. That's why, oh, we're so sorry that you got killed by another Muslim. Or they'll never even really say sorry. They just go, oh, I'm not part of that. And then you get driven out. You get controlled. You get dominated. So we're going to be getting into that. Speaking of that, I mean, it's just the daily story. It's every day now. Kind of like the mayor, the Islamic mayor of London said last year and this year. He said, look, just get used to terror. Okay? It's part of living in a major Islamic city. French soldiers shoot dead knife attacker who shouted Allah Akbar. He killed 2 in the Marysville event. 2 women. He chose 2 women to stab to death because the women of non-Islamic groups are seen as the military manufacturing centers. So killing a woman is a double bonus because they might not have any kids. But don't worry, Europeans don't have kids to begin with. They've got their guilt. They want to die. That's why they let you in. So there you have that. Allah Akbar, and with an ISIS flag. Here's another one. Terror attack in Canada, driving over a bunch of people, trying to stab the police, finally getting killed, deliberately ramming pedestrians. That's all. Had an ISIS flag in his vehicle. Terrorist attacks rock Canada and France, being investigated as acts of terrorism. They now say they were acts of ISIS terror attack. So there you go. We'll be talking more about that with our guest, Matt Bracken, coming up in the next hour and taking your phone calls as well. But what you have going on in Catalonia there with the Catalans is truly shocking, and they've declared civil emergency. That's a fancy name for martial law, ladies and gentlemen. But don't worry, who needs to be banned from having speech to criticize this or to just politely say that the mayor of San Juan, Puerto Rico, is not telling the truth? Donald Trump, the former CEO of Reddit, says Trump should be banned because Trump's a bully. Really, I'm going to play coming up clips of Saturday Night Live. I'm going to ask you what's the bullying versus his polite tweets saying, you know, the mayor was very nice to me until the Democrats told her to be mean to me. And then we need to locals to work together to help us get the aid in. He knew 3 days ago when he said that the Army had already given him an intelligence report last week that the Teamsters have completely stood down. 80% of the island's trucks are owned by the Teamsters Union or run by them. They're on TV. We have all the Spanish clips and some in English admitting we're not shipping anything to teach the governor and Trump a lesson. So I have clips coming up of the Squawk Box with video, CNBC, admitting there are thousands of containers, hundreds of ships lined up, 20, 30 ships deep. They've been there for weeks, and they will not take them on to the island. And so it's only non-Teamsters. They're being physically attacked, and they're just holding the island hostage to demonize Trump.
Every morning before I start writing or shooting a video, I take 2 capsules of Brain Force for a sustainable burst of energy. This is, without question, the most powerful nootropic I've ever taken, and it comes without any of the crashes or the jitters associated with energy drinks. It's additive-free, nothing artificial. It's Brain Force Plus. Read thousands of 5-star independent reviews right now and get your Brain Force Plus at InfoWarsLife.com.